Well, hello there, I'm Ray. I'm sorry, we have to stop real quick because it's already the end of January and this is a little ridiculous. Just put that there and voila, now we can move on. Today we are back for another episode of Duty in Progress, which is an attempt to justify the ungodly amount of hours I've sunk into this game by finally hitting level cap with all jobs. Before we get into this week's progress, I wanted to discuss something vitally important to any game, but especially MMORPGs, which is everyone's absolute favorite activity, inventory management. This segment is mostly for the sprouts who will inevitably get overwhelmed with inventory management. It isn't really an exhaustive list, it's just the process that I personally go through when I'm trying to deal with too much gear. As a side effect of all my level grinding, I have begun to accumulate quite a lot of gear, and it's starting to clog my inventory. It's been a while since I did a good clean out, so I thought this was the perfect opportunity to roughly explain the different ways you can handle getting rid of gear you don't want. I think the most important factor of managing your inventory is knowing what you want to keep. Whenever I've joined an MMO in the past, it was almost impossible for me to tell, even in Final Fantasy XIV. So let me walk you through some information that can help you decide what you want to keep and what you're fine getting rid of. First, we can already tell quite a few things just by looking at our armory chest. Any item that's grayed out with a blue X means that we can equip it, but not with the current job. If it has a red X, that means that you can't equip the piece at all, but if it looks normal, it means you can equip it currently. If it has this little sticky note thing in the bottom right corner, that means the piece is currently registered to a gear set, so it's currently being used by another job. If it has a little cross on it like this, it means the piece has been glamored over, and it also shows what color it currently is. And if it has the little circle, it means that it can be dyed, and if the circle's filled in, that's the color that it currently is dyed. If you hover over an item and this here is yellow, it means you're just a few levels from being able to equip. Also hovering over, you can see these symbols here at the top. This shield with the cross here indicates that it's a piece of gear you can apply a crest to. Like this. Look at this crest. If the middle one here is lit up, it means that it's an item that can be stored in the glamour dresser. Most items can be stored in the glamour dresser. The more important one is the last one here, which means it can be stored in the armoire. The armoire is mostly used for storing seasonal items or special reward items, such as the veteran bonus rewards here, the Cloud Strife outfit, Squall Leon Heart, all that good stuff. It can be put in here, so it's not clogging up your glamour dresser, not clogging up your retainer's inventory space, not clogging up your inventory space. So this is a great way to take care of some of the gear you don't want to get rid of, but you don't necessarily want to be clogging up space other places. Knowing all this information helps inform you on whether you need to hold on to something or not. Generally speaking though, there's nothing you can't just get again later. Like even if you see a gear piece that you really like, you can get it pretty easily later on. Even gear you can only get one set of can be gotten back from a Calamity Salvager usually. These guys are Calamity Salvagers. So, if you have a lot of jobs like I do, it may also be worth just going through all your gear sets and trying on stuff to make sure you have the best gear available to you at that time, because sometimes I have better gear than what my jobs are currently wearing and I don't realize it. I always start by making sure nothing ended up in my regular inventory by accident after that section of my armory chest was filled up, because we're going to be dumping the stuff we don't want into our inventory. So yeah, just decide what you want to keep. We're going to ignore all those things, okay? We're going to identify them and we're going to ignore them. We are going to move everything else that we don't need, we're not trying to keep, we're going to move those things from the armory chest into the inventory. Then, once you've done that, you head over to your Grand Company office and talk to this fine gentleman here. You do need to be a Sergeant 2nd class in order to unlock this, but once you do, you can talk to this guy and select Undertake Supply and Provisioning Missions. Then go to the Expert Delivery tab and make sure this is set to hide armory chest items. This means it'll only pull things from your inventory. You could also alternatively go through your glamour and armoire stuff first and put it away, and then come back and turn in only items not registered to gear sets, but this is just the way I like to do it. There's always pieces that I'm just holding around for whatever reason, so I just prefer to manually choose what I would like to get rid of and then get rid of that stuff. So you go through it like this, you just kind of turn them in. I just kind of spam click it for a long time. But yeah, doing this, you pretty easily cap on company seals, which you can use for several things. I've already gotten all the cool one-time purchase stuff, so personally I tend to buy ventures, Aetheryte tickets, and random stuff to sell on the market board when I'm not in need of either of those. Expert Delivery will take care of the majority of your gear, but for any gear you have left over, you can see about selling it on the market board, or can also sell it through your retainer for the NPC buying price, or if you just don't want it and can't get rid of it another way, you could just discard it. As I said before, there's a way to to get stuff again after you've thrown it away, so there's not too much worry there. Hope that little nugget helps you deal with your inventory. I know it's definitely helped with mine. So with our inventory taken care of, I think it's time we dive into our progress for the past 2 weeks. Let's go. And so we return to our level grind, this time with Astrologian as our focus. Let's take a quick peek at where we're starting out for the week. Unfortunately, since we're starting at level 53, we don't have normal raid roulette available to us, and we're stuck doing the Vanu tribe quests, but that's okay. We will make it past this. Our first stop, week 4, day 1, is trial roulette, which gave us Leviathan. Unfortunately, as most people who have attempted this level grind knows, 50 to 60 or even 50 to 70 is perhaps the worst zone for leveling because you don't have the easy leveling that you get pre-50, and you're also limited on roulettes you can do, and everything just kind of lurches to a stop in terms of the progress that you make. It goes really fast and suddenly you're hardly making any. I will not let this slowing bother me because if I can just do some heavy lifting here, it should go pretty quickly. I've got my eyes on our next prize. Next we did leveling roulette and got put into the stone vigil. Thanks to our positive attitude, we were gifted our first level of the week. To celebrate, we did the Vanu tribe quests. Day 2, we picked up our Wondrous Tales, as is our Tuesday tradition, and knocked out several unsynced runs of random stuff. We did Wanderer's Palace 3 times, Alamigo, Ifrit, King Mog, Ultima's Bane, and attempted Crown of the Immaculate on Dark Knight, but to no avail. It's still not quite high enough eye level to make this quick enough. I still wanted to push the envelope though, so I did try Sigmascape version 1.0 and was immediately filled with regret because my attacks there were also not really doing a ton, but I couldn't leave the instance without dying, and unfortunately the attacks were like butterfly kisses, so I was stuck doing this for probably longer than it would have taken just to queue up for it normally. But we got out and hopped into P5N. I actually kind of struggled here. Not because this fight is too bad, but because all my savage raiding has affected me in the way I view mechanics, which in some cases are either opposite or just very different from the savage fight version. Devour will kill you. But anyway, we finished that and turned in our Wondrous Tales for our second level of the week. After that, we had a bit of a costume change, and then did some roulettes. We got the Dusk Vigil for leveling, which was incredibly painful because our tank was just kind of doing whatever. However, we luckily got a nice long break in the Praetorium after that for MSQ Roulette, and were rewarded for our nap with our third level of the week. Then we did Trial Roulette and got Ramu, and then World of Darkness for Alliance Raid Roulette. The run actually went pretty well considering there were a lot of first-timers, and Cerberus was so pleased that he gave us our fourth level of the week. After that, we did our Vanu quests and then strapped in for Frontline Roulette. By the end of it, we literally needed 5,000 more experience to level up, and I could not leave it like that. So I quickly went and did a Fate that gave us our fifth level of the week. Day 3, we did Leveling Roulette and got Stone Vigil. It was absolutely awful. If you are ever tempted to do roulettes at 2 a.m., simply do not. Simply go to bed. After that, I decided I could do exactly one trial in the form of Ifrit, and then decided to just go to bed after our Vanu tribe quests, of course. Week 5, day 1, we started up with roulettes, and the past came back to haunt me as we were thrust into Aurum Vale, but as a healer this time. Luckily, I actually had a really good tank who pulled the mobs into the boss arena so people wouldn't accidentally grab aggro from the other mobs in the first room. I think I might actually do that going forward. From the Aurum Vale, we got our first level of the week. Then it was on to Ramu for Trial Roulette, Frontline Roulette, Vanu quests, and Alliance Raid Roulette in the form of Circus Tower, from which we obtained our second level of the week. Day 2, I actually streamed our journey a little bit, at least for the second part of this day. Just a quick little plug, I do stream on Twitch sometimes in case you want to join in and see where things are in real time, since these are actually 3 weeks behind release. Anyway, we picked up our Wondrous Tales and knocked that out first. We did 2 runs of Wanderer's Palace, Alamigo, Titan, Leviathan, Thordan, and Zervon Unsynced. We had frontlines on our Wondrous Tales, so I decided to just combine that with frontline roulette to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We finished up our Wondrous Tales with 1 run of P5N and turned in our Wondrous Tales for our
3rd level of the week.
Next, we got the Sunken Temple of Karn for leveling roulette and Leviathan for trial roulette. From Leviathan's corpse, we wrenched free our
4th level of the week.
and finished up the day with Cup of the Father for normal raid roulette. Day 3 we did some roulettes, including Sastasha for leveling roulette, which I actually joined with 6 minutes having already elapsed because some cute little sprouts didn't know the way. But I kind of showed them the ropes. Next was Battle in the Big Keep, yet another fight I do not know the mechanics for, but was still rewarded with our
5th level of the week.
Then we did our Vanu tribe quests and our Ananta tribe quests since we are in the 60s now. We did Arm of the Father for normal raid and finished up the day with frontlines. Day 4 was a casual day. We just did Shiva for trials roulette and Father Fister for normal raid and casually grabbed our
6th level of the week.
I didn't need to do a day 5, and I really should not have, because the run of the Chrysalis I got for Trials Roulette was absolutely cursed. We wiped not once, not twice, but 3 times. Just a little breakdown for any sprouts watching this. In the Chrysalis, which is the Nabrialis fight, it's important that only the tanks are the ones taking the meteors, because otherwise you'll die. And the DPS need to be focused on this tear, which forms where the first meteor falls. So, tanks on the meteors, DPS on the tear, LB3 if you can, and you should be good to go. If you do not, it will result in what veterans, mentors would collectively call a bad time. My friend and I agreed that nothing had actually happened and that the last 30 minutes were actually spent staring at a wall. So we decided to hop onto roulettes for the first time that day and got Father Fister for normal raid roulette and called it early with just a nice friendly run of frontlines roulette and of course finished that up with tribe quests. I can't tell if my notes are getting better at providing details or the last couple of weeks were just really rough. Is this what it's like to level a healer? It felt like I was way more in control of what happened as a tank. Does anyone else feel that way, or is it just bad luck? Anyway, this is where we started off this episode, and this is the progress we've made. It's actually looking really good. 11 levels between 2 weeks, not too shabby. Thanks for joining me for this episode. If you enjoyed what you saw, feel free to like and subscribe. If you have thoughts and opinions, you may share them, but you do have to be nice to me, or else you'll make Rahatia fucking cry, you asshole.
The warrior of light is my best friend.
Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!